Okay, we are now live. Welcome to Talakayan 3K Online.
Okay. So as always, we start our talakayan with the national anthem. Jan, can you please play the national anthem, please?
Okay.
Wala sound.
Hello.
Walang sound?
Natatapos na.
Hello.
Yes, yes, yes.
Narinig ba?
Parang wala yung camera.
Walang sound?
Wala Jan.
Sige, pause ko muna dito sa part na to para
Ulitin mo.
Oh, anyway, we still have a few seconds. We still have a few seconds to 10 o'clock.
ay eksakto sa start ng command. Let me just start something. Kagabi meron tong sound.
Okay na?
Okay na, may sound na.
Wala pa.
Yan. Wala pa? Wala pa?
Wala pa.
Wait na. Yan, meron na?
Meron na. Medyo faint siya. It's a faint sound. Wala pa rin sound dyan. Wala pa rin dyan. Dyan wala eh.
Okay. Hello, Cachito, take over.
Yeah, okay. So we have okay. Dole, CJ Good morning po. Good morning.
Hi sir, good morning.
Yeah, so you are from Dole?
Yes sir, I'm from the Bureau of Local Employment.
Okay. So thank
Apo,
you.
I will be presenting po on behalf of Assistant Secretary Dominic Rubia Tutay.
Okay, good. Okay. So and we have from the CIS.
Thursday ata yung doon. Pwede na na-deliver.
Can you please introduce yourself po Mr. From this Coca-Cola, Attorney Mark. How are you, sir?
Hi, good morning. Naririnig niyo po kami?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you. Okay.
Opo.
So again, John, can we start all over again the national anthem with the music in it, with the sound in it?
Yeah, okay. Let me just
Okay. So
close the
okay.
window.
All right. We're actually now live stream. Huh? We're live. We're live.
Wait lang, i-load ko lang. Kaka-click ko lang ng close ng window.
Okay. So alam mo naman, Sir Mark, this usually comes with the birth pains of a new project, but eventually we'll be able to streamline everything, and maybe next year ayos na ito. Will especially na alam mo naman ngayon, the global consciousness now is dependent on the internet, on the social media. Ganun na talaga. But sabi nga nila, no matter whether there's a pandemic or not, life must go on. Tama naman si Sir Mark. Oh, always good looking eh. At saka,
Sir Chito,
yes.
okay po ba? Kasama ko po si Sir Ivan Mabayag from our team.
Yeah. No problem, sir. In fact, this is also, ano na dyan, okay na? Okay, so kung hindi na,
Setting up
siguro,
pa.
okay, anyway,
Okay.
ganito na lang.
Okay na.
We can proceed. Okay. Okay na? Okay, we can play it again?
It's loading, yeah. Okay.
Okay. Let me just announce that Talakayan 3K Online is launching a program called Maligayang Pasko at Manigong Bagong Taon na May Pag-asa. Sama-sama natin batiin na masaya. This is a program where we are encouraging everybody to greet our Filipinos, especially kababayan, especially nasa abroad. Okay? Okay na dyan?
It's just loading. Yan.
Okay. Wala pa rin dyan ah. Dyan, wala pa rin.
Walang audio?
Wala. Okay, let's just do away with it kung wala. Let's proceed. Let's just finish this, then we proceed. Okay. So we'll follow that with the invocation. All right. So let's bow our heads. Lord God, we thank you that you promise to be with us always. Thank you that your presence is with us right now. Today, we give you our hearts, our minds, and our lives. Come speak your words of life into our beings. We pray that you would deepen our comprehension, broaden our thinking, and transform our understanding of what we are about to discuss. For you are our wise counselor, our perfect teacher, and our faithful friend. Thank you, Lord. Amen. Okay? So, once again, welcome to Talakayan 3K Online. This is our fourth episode, and we will be discussing the topic on labor. Hello. Hello, John. Do I have an audio? Hello, John. Okay. And for our guests, we now have for our panelists, Sir Dr. Jesus Limaranza, the chairman of the Federation of Philippine Industries. Then we have Sir Mark Cox of Coca-Cola Bottlers Beverages Incorporated. Then we have Sir Ivan, also of Coca-Cola. And we have Mr. Lapis of Dole. And we have Elmer Parr of the Ultra Security Services Incorporated, and of course, and myself, Chito Bunya, who's the moderator, and my partner in handling the IT, Mr. Jonathan Sibala. So, as usual, we would like to thank you for giving time to this talakayan, especially at this time that we're going to discuss a topic that is most crucial. Pasko na, paano kung walang trabaho? Paano ang Pasko kung walang trabaho? And there's a lot of issues about it. So anyway, magandang umaga bayan, magandang tanghali, magandang hapon, magandang gabi sa lahat ng mga Pilipino nasan man kayong sa panig ng mundong ito. Dahil ang Talakayan 3K Online po ay mapapanood at makikinig sa pamamagitan ng live streaming sa YouTube at Facebook sa buong mundo. So again, thank you so much. And just a backgrounder on why the Talakayan 3K Online. The Talakayan 3K Online, the 3K represents three key subjects ngayon sa pandemic. It's about kalusugan, which is health, kabuhayan, livelihood, and karapatan, which is rights. So, right now, ilan ang mga ang nawalan ng trabaho ngayon ng mga Pilipino because of the pandemic? At what are we expecting in the coming year? Even itong Pasko, crucial yan. So with that kind of discussions that we will be able to talk today, I hope that a lot of our readers, viewers, listeners will be enlightened on these issues. So without much ado, can we ask your openings? Can we hear your opening statements muna po? Can we start with Sir Jess Aranza kung ano ang sasabi niya on labor because of this pandemic?
Ang tanong ko lang, gusto kong itanong, ilan ang nawalan ng trabaho sa labor? Ilan ang nawalan ng trabaho sa Pilipinas? At ilan ang nawalan ng trabaho sa ibang bansa na bumalik sa Pilipinas? Yun.
Can the labor representative clarify us on that, sir? Mr. Lapis?
Yes, sir. Magandang umaga po sa ating lahat. As to ilan na po ang nawalan ng trabaho, well, based on the labor force survey by the Philippine Statistics Authority, ang nawalan po ng trabaho ay nasa 10% po ng ating labor force. So kung ang labor force po natin ay nasa 45 million per latest labor force survey, around 4.5 million po ang nawalan ng trabaho based on the Philippine Statistics Authority po. As to the returning OFWs, I'll have to check it yet. But as of yesterday, ang repatriated OFWs po ay nasa 335,578. This is based on the records of the Overseas Welfare Administration, Workers Administration.
Okay. Sir Jess. So,
Uh,
okay.
accurate
Yes,
pa yan
sir.
kasi nababasa ko sa radyo, sa TV, nababasa ko sa dyaryo, dati pa, na umabot na tayo sa mga 200,000, 300,000 hanggang ngayon, ganun pa rin. Diba, nire-repatriate, na nakalagay yun sa dyaryo, nasa TV pa lahat, siksikan lahat. Because ang punto ko lang is, if we don't have accurate figures, or close to the accurate figures, it will be very hard for us to come up with some solutions, no? Kung ano man ang magagawa natin. Halimbawa, sa labor naman ng local, ilan ang nawalan? Now, mayroon kang nawalan ng trabaho, totally. Mayroon ka namang disguised unemployment. Yung may trabaho tapos nawawalan. Ilan yun? Kasi kung 40 million ang ating workforce, ilan doon ang kategorya na totally walang trabaho? Ilan doon ang kategorya na once in a while yung disguised unemployment na tinatawag natin? Ilan ang employed, ilan ang disguised employed?
Hello, labor. Can we be enlightened? Can Mr. Aranza be enlightened on that po?
Kung wala siyang figure dyan ngayon, let's not delay it. Let's continue.
Okay, see, sir. So, any additional inputs from the labor on that regard?
Well, sir, actually, regardless whether unemployed or disguised unemployment, ang gobyerno po ay may mga nakahandang programa at kasalukuyang pinapatupad na programa para serving as a social safety net po sa mga naapektuhan or mga nawalan ng trabaho. So, I will be glad to share it with you maya-maya po if given the
Okay,
time.
thank you. But anyway, how are you getting from the private sector in terms of help in generating more employment? Kasi right now, I know that Coca-Cola beverage has something to help the displaced OFWs. So how about Sir Mark? Can you say anything about your program?
Sir Chito, good morning po. Una-una po, magbabati lang po kami sa lahat ng kasama natin this morning dun sa sumusubaybay po sa programa niyo.
Yeah, thank you.
Sa talakayan ngayong umaga for this month. Unahin ko na pong batiin, of course, si Chairman Jeff Gansa ng FPI na advisor po natin and of course, Chairman ng ating Federation of Philippine Industries. Uno po si Chairman Jess activities ng Coca-Cola manufacturing industry. So kami po, maraming salamat. And then, maganda rin po na nandito yung kasamahan natin sa Dole, si Mr. CJ. Good morning po.
Morning.
Then, banggitin ko lang din po na we were in touch also sa Dole for this project na i-share natin. So yung project po natin na i-present and share more information today is called the Balik Pinas project. Ito po yung entrepreneurial partnership opportunity na dinesign ng Coca-Cola Beverages Philippines para sa OFWs. Kung nagbalik po kayo dito dahil na-repatriate kayo or kahit pabalik pa lang kayo, may pamilya kayo dito na gusto mag-explore ng other sources of income. So mapapaliwanag po yan ng kasama ko na si Mr. Ivan Macayag, who is our Balik Pinas project lead and also our regional sales manager handling Bicol. Yun po. So i-turn over ko po muna this morning kay Sir Ivan floor para makapag-share siya ng information.
Yeah, sure.
Chito
No problem,
Sir
Sir Mark.
John, meron po bang content sharing of Although si Mr.
No
Ivan,
problem.
kabisado niya ng presentation.
John,
siyang
do we have
material.
that?
Paano?
John, do we have that capability to share the materials ng COPE? John, what do you need?
Yes, meron pong button sa baba na screen share. Na share screen. So pag click mo yan, then you get a choice to share an application screen or a browser tab. you look at sa ano, sa
Hey,
dashboard
Sir
ninyo, sa
John,
baba,
Edo.
merong share screen na
Hi, good morning, everyone. Fortunately, I don't have the share
baka naka-full
option on my
screen
end, no?
kayo.
Opo, sir, wala din po yung wala din po yung sa akin share option.
Hindi.
Okay. So, in the meantime, siguro, Sir Mark, whatever we can share with us,
Sige.
let's
Yeah.
just go on.
Yes, sir. We'll discuss na lang
Yeah, okay.
what we have online now. So, correct, no? It was mentioned earlier that the current repatriated OFWs is already more than 300,000, no? 335,000. That's what Coca-Cola has also been seeing, no? So when we started,
Okay.
the project is Balik Pinas. So the reason why we came up with the project is because we saw the two realities, no? One is from the repatriated OFWs, which we were expecting. I think the number grows every day, no? From when we launched the project, it was actually at about 200,000 initial projection, but the pandemic continues to grow, and I think it's on its third wave right now, especially in US and the European Union countries. So tumataas siya.
Hello, Sir Ivan.
Sir, parang nawala po si Sir.
Wala si Ivan. Yan, okay na. Okay.
Sorry.
Okay na.
Sorry, did you? Okay. So ayun na, so I don't know where I'm cut, no? So we have two realities right now. The projection for repatriated has been increasing, no, because COVID has been on its third wave in worldwide, no, here in the Philippines and even in the US and European Union countries. And so we are expecting initially we were expecting at 300,000, but it continues to grow because the pandemic is still here up to this day. That's the reality that we are facing, and our OFW kababayans are facing also. And then Coca-Cola on our end, we still have areas where we are looking for partners, exhibitor partners, and wholesalers and resellers that can partner with us, no, so to help us deliver our stocks to the communities, to the people and consumers, no. So with these two things, so we came up with the project Balik Pinas, where we will top our OFWs to be our partners, no. So we can enroll them as our distributor partners or our wholesalers, or they can start as community resellers. So we have three business solutions for our OFWs, and these three business solutions have different investment requirements also, no. So as a distributor, it will be a bigger requirement in terms of capital expenditures, because the distributor will be needing a yes. Hello, sorry. Okay.
Hello. Go on, Ivan.
So we have three business solutions that we are offering, no. First is the distributorship. So to become a distributor, you will be required to have a warehouse space, sales team, no, and then people who will help you operate your business on the back end, warehouse, financing, no, and admin. And then you will be needing investment also for delivery trucks, no, and initial capital requirements. So this is the bigger business solution that we are offering to our OFWs who have bigger investment appetite, no. And but for those naman na medyo limited yung pera, so we are also offering wholesaler model for our OFWs, no. So almost the same operations but on a smaller scale, no. In mas maliit yung warehouse, mas konti yung people that are required na i-employ, and then the delivery trucks or delivery vehicles that they need to buy are smaller and mas less, no, in terms of numbers. So, capital will be less. But if medyo limited and just yung OFW natin just wants to start doing business, hindi sila sanay magbenta, they just want to start and they just want to have a feel on how to do business, they can start as community resellers. So community resellers, para siyang sari-sari store.
Yeah,
no?
yeah, yeah.
But don't, pero community resellers, it's popping up right now, especially during lockdown, no? When people can't go out of their subdivisions. So there were mga houses and residents who lost a job and then started selling products within their community, within their subdivisions. So these are our community resellers. Ito, konti lang talaga yung investment capital because you don't need a warehouse, you don't need sales team, and you don't need delivery vehicles to operate. No? So you just need initial stocks. No? So we have these three different business solutions that we offer to our OFWs. If they are looking for other source of income no, when they come back home here in the country. So this is what Coca-Cola has been doing, and we started to launch this last August, and then we've been sharing communications in different social media sites. No? So we've received a lot of inquiries already in the hundreds, no? And we've launched about 30 partners so far. No? So we're able to provide help, no? Help 30 OFW start business, no? During this pandemic. So that is something Coca-Cola has been doing and offering, and we will continue to do that, no? So as long as we receive inquiries from our OFWs, what we do is that our local sales team goes to them, contact them, and do business presentation and see what is fit for the OFW. Ano yung pwede sa kanila to operate.
Okay, thank you so much, Ivan. Thank you so much, Ivan. Anyway, that's really going to be a really big help. But we POEA Administrator Olalia will be joining us in a few minutes. But again, let us ask the industry sector because ang tinamaan dito yung OFW sector, and of course, the manufacturing sector was also heavily damaged because of the pandemic. Sir Jess, how did the pandemic affect your manufacturers? How much percent? And itong recovery program ng gobyerno ngayon to open up, how is it doing?
So far, yung mga members naman namin, wala naman, everybody is still in production, ongoing production. Lamang, nag-limit kami yan because last time, if you recall, they were saying operation 20% and 50%, and then may sinabi pa sila work from home. And nagtataka nga ako, how can you produce steel bars from home? Yan ang hindi ko maintindihan hanggang ngayon. So, dapat i-classify nila ang industry. But by and large, wala naman masyado. But the issue here is, ang worry lang ng industry namin is we are asking government to review all the trade policies that are crafted to help our industry to prevent influx of substandard materials. So we are also asking them to review the standards of products we have. Yun lang naman ang pagsangga natin na tinatawag natin na non-tariff barriers sa pagpasok ng mga substandard products. And this is to protect our consumers. As a matter of fact, we have done our share. We have talked to the Tariff Commission. We will be writing to the Federation, to the DTI for a possible review ng kanilang mga mandatory standard. Siguro alam naman yun na natatawa nga ako. Meron palang mandatory, meron palang voluntary. Mga standard na voluntary. Nakakatawa eh. And anyway, these are things that we are doing now. But my point is, we have to classify a lot of industries, marami tayong industriya. Ang pinakatinamaan dito, hotel, yung sa tourism industry. Lahat ng mga sa tourism, hotels, buses, lahat ng travel agencies and so on and so forth. Yan ang tinamaan talaga. Hindi mo marirecover yan. I was even toying with the idea na yung mga hospital hindi na maka-convert na ng soft traffic. Para yun ang tinamaan. And I'm glad that Coca-Cola, who is a member of our organization, has been doing a lot of things to alleviate the effect of COVID. I understand that Coca-Cola organized already the retail sari-sari stores in the Philippines. So, yan ang isang magandang daan. Pero may suggestion lang ako sa Coca-Cola, if you don't mind, Mark, Attorney. Ang suggestion ko is, if you can have a tie-up with the other members of the FBI, like biscuits and candy manufacturers, confectionaries, the other, so that pagpasok natin sa mga stores, sa bibenta nila, marami silang maibibenta. They will have so many sources. Kasi I noticed in the marketplaces namin sa BF, pag nakita ko lahat ng mga nabibenta ng products, pero ng mga Coca-Cola, may Sprite, okay, yung nga ako kabili ng maliliit na Coca-Cola eh. So, ang suggestion ko lang, if it will not be in conflict with your target, baka pwedeng isama para maraming para bang kung mayroon ka ng outlet, ano yung sound na yun? Where was that sound coming from? It's annoying sound. Ang punto rito is, pwede mong isama para mas marami ang pagkukunan ng kita ng isang nagbebenta. Yeah, marami ang naapektuhan talaga. Bus, lahat yan halos, tricycle, and so on. And marami namang ginagawa ang gobyerno. Pero ang may naimbita kaya atang security agency. Ang tingin ko, Pedro, ang security agency atang walang ang dumami pa ang kailangan dahil sa yung iba nagsara ay kailangan ng security magbantay doon sa sinaran. So anyway, I just thought of suggesting to Coca-Cola, baka pwede mong isama yon, and para mas lumawak ang clientele ng inyong mga OFW na matutulungan.
Okay. So anyway, thank you, Sir Jess, for your thoughts about that. Sir Mark. Okay. Okay, Sir Mark.
Maraming salamat po sa Opo. And
hindi ko marinig, Mark.
Kilala sound, representatives ng malabo po ba? Okay na po.
Mamaya na eh.
Hello.
Yeah, sige nga. Yan, okay na. Lakas-lakasan mo pa.
Sige po.
Uminom ka pa ng maraming ko.
Okay po.
Okay. So, okay. Go ahead.
Banggitin ko lang po. Salamat po sa suggestion. Opo. And kilala naman po natin yung mga co-members natin sa confectionaries and related industries, food manufacturing. So, we will follow your advice po and we will see how we can work with them para po yung mga interested partners.
Marami ang dala. Mas marami ang kikitain. Pero pag walang walang Pasko.
Oh, okay. Thank you. So I understand CJ would like to add to what Sir Ivan said earlier. So Sir CJ, do you have anything to share or to add?
Yes po. Well, we're happy to hear that Coca-Cola has this initiative para sa ating mga balik manggagawa ng OFWs, and we really consider yung tulong ng private sector para po mapababa ang unemployment dito sa ating bansa. In fact, we have partnered with IBPAP para makapag-hire sila ng mga balik manggagawa OFWs sa BPO sector, and we are very much open with the program of Coca-Cola. So we can help you in promoting that program po through our e-trabaho negosyo kabuhayan platform. So pwede po tayo mag-usap kung paano tayo makakapag-collaborate to promote that program po sa mga OFWs. And regarding naman po dun sa nabanggit ni Sir Jess, no, regarding sa mga naapektuhang manggagawa sa hotel, tourism, and transportation, well, currently, meron po tayong programa on the COVID-19 Adjustment Measures Program. Meron pong specific for the tourism sector. And kung hindi po kayo nagpo-fall sa tourism sector, meron po tayong camp na for general workers. So we encourage all affected workers and yung mga employers nila to apply for the camp financial assistance po. And tuloy-tuloy rin po yung mga employment facilitation programs ng ating department para sa mga nawalan ng trabaho, para ma-refer po natin and makahanap po ng appropriate work sa mga naapektuhan po ng pandemya.
Thank you, Sir CJ. Anyway,
and just can I react to this statement?
yeah. Si Sir Jess.
Lang dito is, okay, mayroon kayong mga nakahanda, financial assistance. I think, why are we always giving pera? Yun ang iniisip ko eh. Let them work money for work for money. Para ma-maintain natin ang dignidad naman ng mga tao. Kasi kung puro assistant pera, wala tayong parulunan yan. May hangganan pera ng ating bansa.
Yes.
Maraming pera. Ayun, wala ng pera. Magbebenta na, sabi nga ni President Duterte. Why? Because we are giving so much without in return, dapat maglinis pa lang ng kalsada, mag-check ng ganito. Marami tayong pwedeng gawin na patrabahuin naman natin. Pwede pa masanay yan. Mahirap po ng patrabahuin, sanay ng namamahinga na may pera.
Sir, can I respond?
Yeah. Sure. No problem.
Sir, actually, that wage subsidy, yung cash financial, that financial assistance is just part of the National Employment Recovery Strategy. So, bukod po sa wage just to explain po, no, yung National Employment Recovery Strategy is a collaboration among government agencies, including DTI, TESDA, and the Department of Labor and Employment. So, parte po yung wage subsidy nung tinatawag na strategy to restart economic activities. But that is just part of the strategy. Kasama din po dun sa ating strategy is to restore consumer confidence, to upskill, reskill, and upgrade our workers, and also yung ating labor market facilitation nga po. So we are exploring other programs para po matugunan yung unemployment po sa ating bansa. So through this National Employment Recovery Strategy. So
Thank
yung
you,
5,000.
Yeah. Thank you, Sir CJ. John, do we already have Administrator Olalia on the platform? John,
Yes,
do we have him?
Sir Bernard,
Yeah. Anyway, sir.
please share your video.
Hello.
Ilan ba?
Hello, John. Do we already have Administrator Olalia on the platform?
Yes, he doesn't have video shared. And
Yeah. Anyway, welcome po Administrator Olalia po ng Talakayan. So we're glad that you're able to join us because kanina pinag-uusapan po natin ngayon is ano ang programs to help the displaced OFW. In fact, that was what was explained to us by Coca-Cola. So hello Administrator, can you hear us? Hello?
you need to unmute your mic.
Sir? Sir?
Bernard.
Anyway, before we go back, we get back to Administrator Olalia. Sir just earlier mentioned about the security business, yung industry ng security. Tama naman, there's logic in what Sir just explained that because of the closures ng mga ibang factory, they need more security guards. So, Sir Elmer, can you share your thoughts about the security agency amid this pandemic, Sir Elmer? Sir Elmer is from the Ultras Security Service Incorporated. Sir Elmer, are you there?
Wala.
Naging jobless?
Wala siya.
Nawala?
Nawala si
Yes, sir.
wala si
Morning po.
yeah, okay, there you are.
Good morning, sir.
Okay. So anyway, if he's back, yeah, he's back. Sir Elmer is back. Sir Elmer, hello.
Sir Jose, so,
We were just asking kanina, Sir Elmer, because under the new normal, pwede mong i-share sa amin ang thoughts nyo about how it was affected by the pandemic, Sir Elmer. You were kasi na-mention kanina ni Sir Jess that amid this lockdown pandemic, nagsasara yung mga ang security business is nagtuloy-tuloy naman. So, can you share your thoughts on the nature of the business ng security amid this pandemic, Sir Elmer?
Yes, sir. When it comes to deployment, like our agency, hindi po kami masyado apektado since yung ating mga kliyente is kasama sa mga pangailangan tao like yung bank. Okay. Banks po kami, sir.
Okay.
Bagamat yung ibang kumpanya po, na maliliit na kumpanya, apektado po kasi nagbabawas sila ng gwardiya since na nagtitipid po sila.
So, anong additional training measures na ginawa nyo for the pandemic? Ano yung mga nakakaibang sitwasyon that only came out because of this pandemic?
Yes, sir. May mga seminars, training po kaming ginawa
Okay.
in preparation for this pandemic po. Like yung kung paghahanda sa mga ganyan sitwasyon. And then our guards are trained at tungkol po sa protocol doon sa COVID-19 po.
Okay. Good. Okay. So, thank you, Sir Elmer. So, yes, Sir Jess, okay.
Siguro tama ang sinabi niya. There are companies, yung mga restaurant, nagsara, isa na lang sigurong gwardiya ang hahirin. So, ang sitwasyon ngayon, sa aking pananaw, dumami ang available na security guards. Dahil sa meron ding tama sila na nawala ng trabaho. But the point is, ngayon dapat ang labanan is pagalingan kayo. Kasi ang selective na ngayon, ibig sabihin, marami na akong pagpilian. Ngayon, meron ang Labor Department ba, mayroong mga in-issue na mga order para masiguro na ang mga security agencies ay mga kwalipikado. Kasi may nakita akong isang security guard sa Lawin na tanong nakikabantay. Akala ko, ang tuna ko, parang pinabili lang ng sukat sa tindahan, naging security guard na dahil walang kamuang-muang. He's a small guy, ang damit parang lousy na kargado. Talagang you cannot, nasa mall pa, nasa mall. So sabi ko, dapat may mga reglamento ang ating Department of Labor, kasama na ang police, para maisiguruhin natin na remember, naghahawak ng mga barilya. Kung hindi magandang training niya, baka mambarilya, baka hindi pa tumama doon sa tao, at tamaan yung iba. Yun ang nakakatakot. Kaya, I think it's mandatory for the Department of Labor and the National Police to closely monitor all the agencies. Mga barilya, naalala mo, may pinatay na yung bakla ata yung security guard, pinatay yung isang estudyante. So, anyway, I just hope na mayroon bang mga reglamento ang Department of Labor dyan?
Sounds a good idea. Labor, anybody from Labor can respond to that, please.
Okay, sir. Sir, in terms of regulations on the security industry, we issued yung Department Order 150 or 156-16, but that concerns the working conditions of the security guards.
Okay. So,
Iyan pa yung nasusunod.
security agencies. I think it's
Okay.
Are clients and the agency, are they are they complying with those yung mga requirements na halimbawa retirement, kung ano-ano man dyan, sick leave, vacation leave, overtime, etc. etc.
Well, sir, they should follow because it's nasa batas po at nasa issuance ng department. So it's up to the labor inspectors to look after the security agencies na may paglabag po sa labor standards or sa occupational safety and health ng workers. So balik po ako dun sa kanina yung about the qualifications. I think it's the industry who should set the qualifications para sa mga security guards. And I think PNP has an office for that, yung PNP SOSHA. So I think well, we can work together, the department and PNP SOSHA with the private sector. I believe also we have this private security industry tripartite council where we can talk about these qualifications at kung ano po yung mga issues na kinakaharap po ng industry.
Ang gusto ko lang sabihin na dyan, Chito,
Yes, sir.
ako'y nakawa sa mga security guards. Kasi doon sa amin, sa BF, pagpasok ko, kung yung nakaupo, baka 36 hours ka, mamamatay yung tao eh. Wala nang nagbakali. So, ang punto ko lang is, I think you should be very strict because ang security guards ay tao rin. May buhay din yan. Kailangan sundin nyo ang mga batas. And you have to be very strict. Kayong mga nasa labor, you check them. Tama bang mga lahat yan? Yung police naman, dapat i-check. Talaga ba sinabi, how many times ba nagpa-practice ko sa shooting range? O baka mamaya, ang kamay niya, pagputok, nasa pakaliwa o pakanan eh. Delikado tayo dyan. Yun ang mga ibig sabihin na dapat alalayan. Lalo ang retirement, kawawa ang mga security guards pag walang retirement, kawawa. Yan.
Okay.
Yan lang naman.
Sige. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. So, John, do we already have Administrator Olalia of POEA? Do we already have with us? John.
Yes, sir. Good morning po. This is POEA Administrator Olalia po.
Hi, good morning po, sir. Welcome.
Morning
welcome.
Po. Yes po, good morning.
Anyway, a while ago, we were talking really about the plight of the overseas Filipino workers. In fact, Coca-Cola is here to explain the program for the displaced Filipino workers. Ano ba talaga, sir, ang plano? What's the real situation ng mga OFWs natin amid this pandemic?
With all due respect po, no? Yes, that's a very good question po, no? One of the most affected during this time of the pandemic is the industry of overseas. All the active stakeholders of the industry are vulnerable to the effects of the pandemic. Let me start off with the first stakeholder are the OFWs. No?
Yes, sir.
They are greatly affected because number one, a lot of our compatriots, a lot of our OFWs are being repatriated. They are being displaced from their work abroad.
Okay.
A lot of our OFWs cannot join their employers because of travel restrictions. Yung mga gusto umalis, hindi po nakakaalis. No? In fact, doon po sa data namin from March up to the third quarter of this year, halos 65% yung decline ng ating department.
Really? Wow.
Yes, sir. Okay. Number two, yung stakeholder natin na PRAs, the private recruitment agencies are also affected. No?
Okay.
Yung latest count po namin, mahigit 70 branches ng mga legitimate branches ng ating PRAs gave notice for the closure of their branches.
Oh, really?
And then, siguro po mga at least 50, yung last count ko, 50 naman, mga land-based agencies then also gave notice for the closure of their main branches.
Okay.
But fortunately, for the sea-based manning agencies natin, unfortunately, not a single one gave notice for temporary closure. Kasi compared to the land-based agencies are more vulnerable to the effects of the pandemic. And then third, of course, yung mga foreign employers natin. they're also
Okay.
affected by the pandemic, no? Alam po natin, because of the economic recession abroad, no?
Mhm.
They are in the verge of closing some of their businesses, temporarily laying off some of their foreign workers, including our OFWs, no? So these are the present state of the status of our stakeholders.
So do you think that this is temporary, and how long would this last, sir? Do you think
Yes, sir, you're right.
do you see any light at the end of the tunnel by late next year, sir?
Yes, sir. You're right. The temporary displacement of our OFWs, the economic reversal suffered by the employers, including our PRAs, are temporary in nature. All because of the pandemic. Pag meron na po tayong vaccine, no?
Okay.
Hopefully by next year. By next year, meron na po tayong vaccine. This will help a lot. No? In fact, ngayon po na nagkakaroon na ng medyo lifting ng mga restrictions because of we want to bounce back to our economic activities, no, so to speak. Eh medyo bumabangon na po yung mga deployment natin. Like for example, yung cruise ship natin. Kung alam niyo, di ba? 100% po talaga tumigil yung ating deployment for starting March, no? Lately, ito pong October, November, there are some employers in the cruise ship sector that already gave notice that they are again beginning to offset deployment.
Okay.
So, medyo sumisigla na po.
So itong mga land-based, sir, are the employers, the principals abroad are just in furlough, nag-aantay lang yan until the vaccine is out, and then as soon as the vaccine is released, they'd be ready to bring in again the workers back? Do you have that kind of scenario?
Yes, sir, I suppose. Especially in the industries mostly and greatly affected, like po yung mga po natin, tourism industry natin, yung hospitality industry natin. Alam natin because of the health protocols, di ba? Halos din dito sa Pilipinas, sa atin, huminto po halos lahat ng ating mga activities dito sa mga sektor na ito. But unti-unti, no, unti-unti, nagbubukas na tayo. Hopefully, with the introduction of the vaccine, babalik na naman yung ating normal activity. Pero hindi ho siguro abrupt, no? Siguro,
so are we, are we looking at new and emerging markets na mga OFWs natin aside from the traditional markets? Do we see any emerging markets coming up?
Yes, sir. No? Yung traditional markets natin, medyo, sabi ko nga kanina, decline po ang ating deployment. But, yung emerging market natin, mind you, tulad po ng deployment of HCWs or what we call healthcare workers. Ito po yung talagang mabili po ngayon. Ito po yung dumadagsa ngayon. Ito po ang dumadami. Particularly, yung nurses natin. No?
But, has the government lifted the ban on deployment of overseas health workers, mga Filipinos? I understand nagkaroon tayo ng ban before eh. What's the status of this ban?
We effected a ban starting March until this November, no? But the president already approved the recommendation of the IATF for the lifting of the temporary suspension of deployment of our HCWs, no? But there is a cap, no? Meron pong ceiling na 5,000 deployment only annually. Yung pong cap is to address yung issue ng existence of a public state emergency in the Philippines and of course, the pandemic.
But on the government edge, sir, if you're banning the health workers from leaving and yet we're not raising the salaries of our local health workers, I mean, would it not be unfair for our health workers to deprive them of their right to work abroad for a better job and confine yourself dito sa bansa natin when you're not, their salaries are not being raised?
I mean, partially agree with your observation, sir. No, tama po kayo. No, we have to provide also the economic package that is reasonable for nurses in the Philippines. No? Tama po kayo. We have to address that. That is one root cause.
Exactly.
For the reason why our nurses are constantly leaving our jobs.
Exactly, sir.
Labor side. No? Pero, sir, we have to balance also the interest of our government in addressing the medical issue of the pandemic. No? Kaya kinakailangan po nating mag-temporary suspension because there is a need also to maintain the labor needs of our medical facilities. Otherwise, pag hinayaan po natin na mag-exodus sila kasi ang lakas po talaga ng demand ngayon na mga
Okay.
nurses abroad, no?
Probably from the Department of Labor, have you ever thought of raising the salary range of our local health workers for them not to think of going abroad? Because again, ano yan eh, market driven yan sir eh. I mean, if they'll be earning better, you cannot blame them. Dahil ngayon, sabi nga, paano ang Pasko natin kung walang trabaho?
Tama po.
In fact, the good thing is we have the private sector actively involved in helping the displaced OFW. In fact, pinaliwanag kanina ng COPE of their program, because COPE is here with us right now, how they can help the displaced OFWs. So, ganun yan, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Maganda yon. So, if we have other, can you give us more of your plans para sa mga OFWs? And Sir Mark, do you have anything to say kay Administrator Olalia, sir?
Yes po, Sir Chito. So, good morning po, Administrator Olalia. And
Yeah, good morning po.
Good
morning.
Ng kasama ko. Ako ni Mr. Ivan Mabayan from Coca-Cola Beverages Philippines. So, nag-share po kami kanina nung project namin, yung Balik Pinas for OFWs.
Yeah.
And mabuti po nandito kayo and our friends from Dole, Mr. CJ. So, ang na-present na po ni Sir Ivan kanina yung brief information about the Balik Pinas offering, kung balak maging distributor, wholesaler, or kahit community reseller ng ating mga OFWs or kababayan. Ang siguro po mare-request na lang po namin is how to be able to work with your offices para po share pa ng mas malawak yung information about this project. I know that we have been in touch po dun sa Dole team naman na under the Office of ASEC Nikki Tutay, and nandun po yata yung information sa BLE microsite, kung di ako nagkakamali. But if there are other channels po from POEA or from Dole that we can share this information, then we would welcome that assistance po para help to spread the word. And yun po sana yung request namin. And then I'll let Ivan po share siguro some information for the benefit of Admin Olalia about the project. And then para makita nyo kung paano po siguro tayo makapag-collaborate.
Thank you. Thank you po.
So, Sir Ivan, again, sabi ko nga, sir, the purpose really of our talakayan is to have objective and constructive discussions, and this is one classic example of it. Sige, Sir Ivan.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so ayun, we've shared earlier also that we are offering different business solutions to our OFWs who have been repatriated. So we actually launched this last August, So we have some posts in social media. Hopefully we can share it here, or we can send siguro to you para at least you can share on your site, so that here in Talakayan also they can share it in your social media sites on what Coca-Cola is offering now. So what we have now is that we give out our numbers so that OFWs can contact us, and then once they call us, our local sales team goes to them, visit them, and offer the different business solutions that we have. Of course, not everyone can be catered because depende rin yun sa capability ng OFW, if they have enough investment available, funds that kung ano yung kaya nilang pwedeng i-invest, and then but we will be there for them to help them set up their business, support them on mga requirements nila, kasi most of these OFWs hindi naman sila, iba yung trabaho nila outside, iba rin man yung pagdating dito, so we will be there to help them set up their business, train them how to do selling, how to do distribution, how to operate a distributorship or a wholesale business. So that's what Coca-Cola is offering right now for OFWs. And then we'll be there to make sure that they succeed, no? Kasi sayang naman yung pera naiipon nila from working abroad for so many years. So for now, we have 30 launches already. No, we were able to partner with 30 returning OFWs, and we hope to partner more. So that's what the company
Thank you,
portfolio
Sir
has been
Ivan.
offering.
So anyway, Sir Olalia, so you now have a strong partner in Coca-Cola. So anyway,
Thank you very much.
do you see any exodus of skilled workers, mga factory workers in light of the closure of the factories here? Because I know Mr. Aranza would be interested in that because he represents the group of manufacturing companies. So do you see any exodus of factory workers, skilled workers, Sir Olalia?
You know, yeah, you're right, sir. You know, even prior to the pandemic, no? Even prior to the pandemic, we have a lot of factory workers who travel and go abroad for employment. No?
Okay.
This is because we have a G2G arrangement for the deployment of factory workers. When I say G2G, these are the
government.
government deployment. No, we have a partnership with Taiwan, for example. No, so this is pursuant to the bilateral labor agreement we had with Taiwan, wherein the Philippine government is allowed to deploy factory workers to Taiwan. This is one of our biggest, not big markets in the deployment of factory workers. Another is our bilateral labor agreement with Korea, South Korea. We also deploy factory workers to Korea. No?
Okay.
So these are the traditional factory, jobs that are available for our OFWs in terms of this type of skill.
In terms of growth in this particular market, so tanong ko lang sir, si Sir Jess Aranza representing the manufacturing industry, are you feeling that plight of factory skilled workers na umaalis sir sa inyo sa industry sector sir? Do you feel that?
Wala naman.
Yeah.
We don't. Usually, ang factory workers, let me ask Director Rolando, how many factory workers have went abroad and how many have come back?
Is that query addressed to me?
Yes sir, it's addressed to you sir.
Okay, ito po yan. Sa Korea po, we have an approximate quota of 500 plus every year. Malit lang po yan. Sa Taiwan, yes, ganun din po. The difference between Taiwan and Korea is that we have a double track or dual track in Taiwan. When we say dual track, we allow also private recruitment agencies to deploy factory workers to Taiwan.
Okay.
At the same time, there is a bilateral labor agreement wherein POA actively participates in the deployment of factory workers through this G2G scheme. No?
Okay.
The query of whether bumabalik pa sila or hindi, yes sir, bumabalik sila because there is no migration corridor for the
okay.
Unlike in other countries like for example UK, Canada, meron pong reunification na program ito, no? When we say a reunification program, their immediate families are allowed to reunite with the Filipinos in working in these destination countries once they get the status of a residence for migrant workers, no? Pero doon po sa Taiwan at Korea, wala pong gano'n. So they are forced for good to go back to the Philippines after the end of their employment contract.
So when you say government to government purely, Sir Jess, continue.
Ang gusto kong malaman, kung halimbawa ang nagpadala tayo ng 1,000, ilan ang nandun pa ngayon? Itong may pandemic, ilan pang naiwan doon at ilan ang bumalik?
Sir, for the pandemic kasi, no, I'm sorry to say that yung data po natin hawak ng ating polo. No? So repatriation issue po kasi yun, not POA. What we have are the deployment data. But rest assured na malaki din po yung mga bumabalik because of the pandemic dahil siyempre nag-close po yung mga factory workers work doon. So for sure po marami rin po na
excuse me, ang nangyari is while we are so happy bringing them out, what happened today is we are bringing them in, but those who have been deprived of these people, of these workers, have already trained new ones. So then it will create now an excess dito sa ating bansa. Kaya nga, sabi ko nga, talagang dapat siguro pag-ingatan natin kasi while we are so happy, then we have to consider also that alam mo ang sa aking pananaw kasi long time ago I've been having that in mind. The time will come, these foreign countries will also have a campaign, hire our own, competing. Yung States is doing that, in Saudi Arabia is doing that. So pagdating ng oras, kawawa yung bansa rin natin kasi nadagsain na tayo ngayon lahat. So there is no substitute from nurturing our local industries. Talagang ito ang talagang maganda na talagang future ng ating bansa. Sapagkat alam mo, naawa rin ako sa tingnan mo mga may bahabang may anak. Pakaluwan ng sanggol, pupunta sa ibang bansa. Anong gagawin sa ibang bansa? Mag-alaga ng ibang sanggol. So, I mean, they don't even enjoy. Sorry, talagang iniisip ko na kailangan talagang mag-build and build tayo dito ng mga incentives so that there will be more investment in our country. And nurture them. Hindi yung pabubuksan natin, kinukumpetensya tayo ng mga substandard product from China, kung saan yan. Kawawa ang bansa natin talaga. Kaya yun lang ho ang aking while we are encouraging, we have also to look at the domestic side of it. Mm-hmm. There should be a constant dialogue and dialogue between the domestic and kayo ho, para nakikita natin kung ano ang what is in store for us in the next few months, in the next few years. Yun lang ho naman ang akin.
Sir Bernard, any comment on the statement of Mr. Aranza, sir?
Thank you. Thank you.
So, anyway, sir, I remember that nagkaroon tayo ng ban on deployment of household workers. Is it still lifted na ba yun or ano pa rin yun? Yung household workers?
Hindi na?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let me first react to the comments of my good sir. Yeah. First of all, we do not. The Philippine government does not promote overseas employment.
Okay.
That's a clear policy of this country. No? We never promote overseas employment. It is an option granted to the OFWs to migrate the process of overseas employment. No? In fact, what we do promote are the domestic opportunities, domestic employment opportunities here. Kaya po nandyan po ang DOLE at huwag po natin sa pagtutulong sa mga. The main mandate of POA is only to afford protection to our OFWs, facilitate their employment in case they hope to work abroad, and then assist them in the eventual integration in our society when they come back. Okay. So, iyon po yung mandato po ng POA.
Sir Jess,
so now, going back to your last question po ninyo on the HSW issue, yes sir, there was a deployment plan of HSW early latter part of 2019 until the early part of this year because of what happened to the Mafilis in Kuwait.
Yeah.
OFWs there died. She died in the hands of a foreign employer brutally. And so we imposed a deployment ban to make a point that the life of an OFW is very important for the Philippine government. So we tried to negotiate for the passage of a BLA, a bilateral labor agreement, to assure full protection to our HSWs who are the most vulnerable workers at all. Kaya ito pong nangyari po na employment contract template namin sa Kuwait, we were able to get what we wanted na matagal na. Number one, yung pong travel documents should be retained by the OFW and should not be confiscated by the employer. Nakuha po natin yan sa Kuwait because of that. Number two, yung pong communication should be 24/7. Hindi po dapat pinag-prevent yung ating OFW to communicate to their loved ones in the Philippines. No? Number 3, yung po working conditions should also be observed. Yung po nakalagay sa kontrata that they have a rest day, that they have 8 hours of sleep, yung po continuous benefits po nila, that's also one of the important provisions that we have in the employment contract. Among others.
But how is the rate of deployment going? Is it going up or is it status quo or is it going down?
For the HSW prior to COVID, it's a upward trend. But during the COVID time, starting ito pong 2020 natin, it's a downward trend.
Oh, and on overall perspective, sir, on our overall perspective, how is the industry going? Is it up? Deployment is up or down or whatever?
For the overall perspective, sir, let me siguro say that doon po sa seafaring industry po natin, we have maintained that deployment of more or less mga 400,000 annually, so 400 to 450,000 annually. For the land-based, we also maintained the 1,500 more or less deployment natin. No? Kaya nga po, sabi ko kanina, we do not gauge our performance by means of whether deployment increases or decreases. Hindi po yun ang aming gauge. Ang gauge po namin, how many OFWs we were able to protect while they were staying.
Oh, okay.
Yun po yung aming gauge. Ilan po yung natulungan natin, ilan po yung nangangailangan ng nagtulong, at ilan po yung naipababa natin na welfare cases natin abroad. Yun po yung aming gauge.
Sir, may nagtatanong lang, what is the real situation in Japan? Is Japan planning to hire overseas Filipino workers for Japan?
Naku sir, ang Japan is one of our fast-growing and emerging market natin.
But are they living under a trainee or work visa talaga, sir?
Ganito po yan, sir, no? Ang history po niyan, we have both dual tracks in the deployment in Japan. Meron po tayong tinatawag na private track and then we have also a government track. Yung economic partnership agreement natin, that's a government track wherein we were under an agreement to deploy care workers and nurses. No?
Okay.
And then after the EPA, meron po tayo ng TITP, Technical Internship Training Program, wherein the agencies, licensed recruitment agencies, are allowed to participate in the deployment of workers as trainees in Japan, okay, but as full-fledged workers in the Philippines. No? When we say full-fledged workers, we do not treat them as trainees. No? Yung benefits po nila, yung kanilang natatanggap na salaries and wages po are commensurate to the wages and salaries the Japanese nationals or their counterparts receive. Yun po yung nakalagay doon sa aming employment contract. No? After ng TITP, recently last year, through another BLA, we launched yung SSW, yung Special Skill Worker Visa category po ng Japan.
Okay.
For the first time, Japan amended its labor laws to admit foreign workers with the opportunity to migrate there and reunify with their immediate families. For the first time po.
Okay.
That is how that is how they acknowledge yung labor shortage nila in specific areas in their industries.
But is Japan now processing applications for OFWs sa Japan or wala pa sila ngayon, sir? Anong situation talaga sa Japan?
They're starting to open up their market for our OFWs this time of the year. So unti-unti na po silang nagbubukas ngayon. Yung mga agencies po natin are already starting to process some of their workers, some of our workers bound to Japan.
Meron lang point of clarification, sir. Somebody just texted me and asking, ano ba talaga ang rule? This was the standard rule ng gobyerno about placement fees. Is it supposed to be paid by the principal or is it going to be paid by the applicant?
Okay,
because
we have a very strict rule on placement fee policy sa Philippines. No? So, for workers who are considered vulnerable, like yung HSWs po natin, drivers, gardeners, yung mga tinatawag
Yes.
natin skill, there is a no placement policy. Ibig
Okay.
sabihin, wala pong dapat binabayaran na placement fee yung mga workers.
All right. Okay.
What is allowed there is the payment of service fee to be paid by the employer in favor of the deploying recruitment agency.
Okay.
Service fee po yan.
So walang out-of-pocket cost ng applicant.
Wala po. Yung mga
Okay.
HSWs po natin are supposed to pay nothing in relation to deployment except in documentation cost nila like passports, yung diploma nila, yung
Personal.
NPI, yun lang po.
All right.
For professionals and skilled workers natin, we allow the charging of placement fee by the recruitment agencies. But there's a ceiling. We do not allow charging placement fee more than 1 month equivalent salary for
Okay.
professionals and skilled.
Oh.
For countries of destination that have a clear policy of no placement fee, we apply that and do not allow the charging of placement fee for countries na pupuntahan po ng mga OFWs natin na hindi pwedeng magbayad ng placement fee. Any violation on the placement policy of the Philippine government will lead to a disciplinary sanction of suspension or cancellation of the license of the recruitment agency depending on the gravity of the offense. Yun po ang ating policy.
Clear. Sana nandito na yung Pasay representative. Actually, we invited Mrs. Bracero Bengto for what she had a prior appointment daw. But
Opo.
somebody else is supposed to join us. But it could
Yes,
have
sir.
been a good. This could have been a good platform para ma-discuss ng issues na yan because there are a lot of issues about OFW recruitment, etc. And it's a good thing that you clarified all this, Sir Administrator, dahil talagang masalimuot minsan masalimuot.
Bawat country po may kanya-kanyang policy. And we have no less than 200 destination countries. Ganun po kasalimuot ang overseas deployment natin.
So, what is the most common problem ngayon dito sa pandemic sa mga nare-repatriate ng mga Filipinos? Is it nagsara ang company or is it
Yes,
just
sir.
for health reasons?
Temporary closure of businesses. That's number
So,
one. No? Number two, yung hindi po nabayaran yung mga unpaid salaries nila. May mga hindi nabayaran na salaries. Number three, yung mga benefits po nila hindi na ibigay, mga overtime, gano'n. Number four, yung severance pay. Kasi yung iba, hindi nila alam ang status nila, whether this is a temporary closure or permanent closure of the industries involved. No? So, yun po yung mga ilan sa mga problema po na lumabas din.
Who takes care of the financial claims ng worker natin? Considering na hindi na nag-declare whatever, will it be the agency, deploying agency who will take care of it? Or I understand if it's a first deployment, they have the OFW insurance.
Good point.
Diba, sir?
Very good point. Very relevant nowadays dahil sa pandemic. Meron po kaming tinatawag, sir, na JSL. Joint and Solidary Liability.
Okay.
It's a policy of the POA with respect to the promotion and protection of the interests of our OFWs. Whenever an agency deploys an OFW, it executes an undertaking that it will be jointly and solidarily liable with the foreign employer it accredited. Sila po ang namili na employer, sila po ang nagsabi na ito ay compliant, kaya po pag hindi nagbayad ng salaries, ng benefits, ng whatever monetary obligations yung employer, it will be the agency who will shoulder for that solidarity without any question.
So how about, sir, if the cause of termination is employer's fault, not the employee's fault? Would the agency still be liable to repatriate and cover all the expenses of the OFW? Employer's fault ang cause ng termination.
With much reason, sir. Pag employer's fault, it will be the agency who is going to pay for the
talaga.
obligations.
Okay. That's good clarification, sir. Kasi marami yan again, masalimuot talaga. So, any other issues, anybody from the other panel, I'd like to clarify on some issues affecting our...
Let me just explain yung ano po yung ginawa ng POA during this pandemic, sir. No?
Yes, sir.
Allow
Yes,
me
sir.
to take this opportunity also. Okay. From the perspective of the OFW, ano pa yung ginawa natin? ang number one na naging issue po dyan kasi, yung problema nila sa post. Di ba? Nag-close, nagsarado, nawalan sila ng
Yes,
trabaho.
yes sir, yes sir.
So, the Department of Labor and Employment, no? At saka yung POE, yung OWA, at saka yung labor attaché natin sa polo offices natin. They launched yung food pack program wherein they go to the houses of the employees para bigyan po sila ng mga needs nila. And then they assist in the repatriation of the OFWs. As we speak po, OWA is able to repatriate parang 350,000 OFWs. And itong repatriation, this is a multilingual approach to assist all the OFWs in terms of assistance to, for example, financial assistance, may livelihood assistance dyan, tapos may scholarship sa mga anak po nila na nag-aaral. So marami po yan. No? Yung OWA po makakapag-explain na mabuti dyan sa mga programa po.
Yes sir, yes sir.
Secondly, pag may mga problema po sila doon sa mga monetary obligations ng employers na hindi nagbayad, may mga benefits na hindi nabigay, yung POA natin assist in trying to collect it from the employers. We write letters to employers under threat na pag hindi nyo binigay yan, you will be considered blacklisted and you will not be able to participate in the employment program.
Okay.
So yun po. Also, yung mga hindi umalis at kasalukuyan po kung nagtatrabaho during this pandemic, we issued an advisory reminding the agencies to continuously monitor our OFW. Continuously monitor 24/7. And in case of any significant event involving the particular OFW, whether they were infected, whether they were separated, they were displaced from work,
Yes sir.
They have to submit a report to the POA within a certain number of days, 3 days lang po. Failure to do that will lead to disciplinary action. The agencies are also mandated and reminded to address all issues of the OFWs, tulungan sila, make representations with their counterpart in foreign recruitment agency, and talk to the employer to accommodate all the issues of our dear OFWs.
Sir,
So,
how about those who were supposed to be deployed but was not able to leave because of the travel lockdown? So
marami po
what's
yan.
what do they need to do? Ano ang options nila?
Sila po yung tinatawag nating stranded LSI, no? Locally stranded individuals. And then POA passed a resolution naming them LSI also in conformity with the IATF policy. No? Tapos po, sinabi po natin, the agencies will be responsible for the accommodation and transportation, food, accommodation, and transportation of this LSI in going back to their respective provinces. So, yun po ang ginawa natin sa kanila. No? Although, hindi po sila entitled doon sa mga ibang tulong ng OWA dahil hindi pa po sila nakakaalis, technically speaking, hindi pa po sila OFW, dahil ang definition natin ng OFW is once na nakaalis na sila, no? From point of hire to their point of employment. No? So, pinatulungan po natin sila sa mga agencies natin, no? At sinabihan po natin na ibalik din muna sila sa kanilang probinsya, no? Na walang COVID, ipa-check niyo sila, wala pong problema dapat i-admit din sila ng respective LGUs kasi yun po ang naging challenge natin, no? Yung mga panahon na yon. And then once na normalize na yung ating deployment, that's the time that you tell them to go back to Manila for the deployment.
So point of clarification lang, sir. Ano ba talaga ang safety protocol na sinusunod ng POEA for those for deployment and repatriated? Kasi marami to, sir, marami nagsasabing ganitong gagawin, and a lot of our OFWs do not even know what to do. Sa dami na ng ano. Now, we'll be hearing it personally from the administrator. That would be a very, very credible explanation on what they should do. So ano ba dapat ang gagawin nila?
Okay, let's put it this way. Unahin muna natin yung repatriated OFWs kasi separate ang protocols po nito. Yung repatriated protocols, we also identify land-based and sea-based.
Okay.
Sa land-based naman, we identify natin yung agency-based, yung agency hire, at saka yung other than agency hire, yung mga direct hire, yung mga balik-balik. No? So marami po kasing mga mga disaggregations. No? Doon po sa land-based natin, we follow the IATF protocol.
Yes,
So,
sir.
ang implement po dyan, yung ating pong BI, yung ating pong DOH, yung ating pong other agencies like DOTR, pagdating po DOH,
Yes, sir.
pagdating sa testing, pagdating sa swabbing, pagdating sa mandatory quarantine, kasi may mandatory quarantine
Yes,
while
sir. Yes, sir.
awaiting for the result of the COVID. And then once na nag-negative po sila, they will be booked for their transportation back to their respective provinces. Papasok na po yung OWA.
Okay.
The OWA will have to do the coordination between the OFW at saka yung pupuntahan niyang LGU.
Okay.
So lahat ng cycle na yan, yung process cycle na yan, are fully coordinated with the appropriate and relevant government agencies. No? Doon
Okay.
naman po sa sea-based natin, yung mga seafarers natin, we have a very strict protocol. IATF also launched yung tinatawag nilang Safety and Crew Change Protocol. No? Isa po ang Philippines who effected an earlier protocol for crew change. Ano ba yung tinatawag na crew change? No? Yung crew change po, we allow not only our OFWs to disembark in Philippine shores, no? But also our foreign seafarers. Crew. No? But in doing so, they have to comply with strict IATF protocols for evacuation. Nandyan din po yung swabbing, nandyan din po yung quarantine, mandatory quarantine procedure, nandyan din po yung awaiting for the result of the swabbing, and then nandyan din po yung coordination with all the agencies involved in the transportation and ultimately going home of the seafarers.
But who
So,
takes care of all the costs itong mga swab and
Okay. Yung pong food, accommodation, and transportation, usually these are borne by the agencies. And both land-based and money. Nasa rules po natin yun. But this is without prejudice. That is without prejudice to the assistance to be given by the relevant agencies like OWA, like the OTR for the transportation. Pag binigay po nila yon ng libre, so well and good. No? Hindi po natin aantayin yung agencies na magbigay ng assistance dahil baka naman they will be waiting forever. So ang OWA po and all other agencies are there to give whatever is needed by the OFW.
Thank you. Oh, anybody from the other panelists would like some clarifications from Administrator Olalia of POA? Sir Mark, anybody? Sir Jess. Oh, Sir Jess. Okay, Sir Jess.
Okay. Klaro na natin, no? So, I think may suggestion is to have a balanced development. I'm not saying na walang OFW. Kailangan din natin yan eh. Pero, ang punto ko lang is balansehin natin ang interest ng domestic na mga requirements eh. Kasi, napakahirap din mag-train ng tao eh. Tapos mawawala sa iyo. No? So, pangalawa, very particular ako sa mga tulong. Kasi ang Coca-Cola is helping. So, my suggestion is we have to maximize yung mga tulong natin. Baka nagkakadoble-doble, duplication. Kasi kaya nga, dapat ang lahat ng tumutulong sa employment, lalo sa OFW, saan man, dapat nagko-coordinate kay Director Olalia para sa ganun, hindi tayo nagkakasusunduble-doble. Ibig sabihin, we can maximize in stretching pa mas malayo yung may tutulungan pa natin. Kaysa pagka-doble-doble, kawawa naman yung hindi natin matutulungan. Na, number 3, kasi palis na ako, sorry ang sa mga ang security agencies naman, very important yan. Bakit? Multiplier yan ng mga pulis natin eh. So, there should be proper training, proper compensation sa mga securities. I know that these are not being followed. So ang punto ko lang is clear. Why don't you, kayong mga nag-check sa labor, kayong mga nag-check sa lahat, publish nyo kung ano ang mga hindi sumusunod. You can, Chito, you can give them my
Yeah, yes, sir.
program
Yes, sir.
namin
We'll
ni
do that,
Senator
sir.
Juan for the past 20 years. To announce kung sino ang mga legitimate, sino ang lehitimo, sino ang ilehitimo, at sino ang mga mandarambo. So, katulad niyan sa labang ko sa smuggling, labang ko sa illicit trade. So, ganun ho sa tingin ko para matuto itong mga tao to toe the line. Maraming salamat.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Sir Jess, for your thoughts. So, anybody else, Sir Cox, Mark, from anything to share with the group, especially kay Administrator Olalia?
Let me share some thoughts on yung brain drain.
Sige, sir.
Sige po, yung nabanggit kasi nila natin, mga kababayan po natin, no, pag skilled na, bibigyan ng offer abroad, tapos doon po sa abroad, no. Sayang naman yung mga Pilipino na may talent na bakit hindi natin sila i-harness dito sa sarili natin na bansa, no? Which is quite true. So, po yun, no? Napakaraming matatalino, napakaraming mga skilled.
Yes.
Alam po ba ninyo, ang preferred foreign worker abroad, mga Pilipino po.
Yes.
Napaka-preferred po nila. I've been to a lot of negotiations for the BNA, and then isa lang pang tinatanong ko palagi sa mga counterpart ko, mga foreigners. Why Filipinos? Why OFWs? No? So, alam mo po ang mga naririnig kong sagot po nila. Number one, the Filipinos are competent.
Yeah.
No? They have the skills, the qualifications. No? Number two, they have the correct work ethics. No?
Okay.
Masigasig tayong mga Pilipino. No? We value our work a lot. No? Kahit nga po pagod na yan, pag pinag-overtime mo yan, wala kang maririnig na reklamo. Unlike other foreign nationalities.
Okay.
Mag-aaway kayo pag overtime yan ng pagod. Pero ang Pilipino, they have overtime.
Okay.
Pangatlo po, alam mo, lalo na yung mga nurses and caregivers natin, they treat their patients as if they were their relatives.
Personal touch.
Yung pagmamahal. Andoon po yung caring. No? Yung wala sa ibang mga foreign workers. Kaya nga mahal na mahal nila, kaya gustong-gusto nila yung mga caregivers natin at saka yung mga nurses natin. Kasi hindi sila tinitignan na trabaho yung kanilang ginagawa, kundi parang pagmamahal sa isang relative ko nila, yung pag-aaruga. No? At ang sabi ko naman sa kanila, that is how Filipinos are brought up. Yung po yung upbringing namin. Hindi po ito nakukuha sa school, hindi po ito nakukuha sa mga trainings. Ganyan po kasi kami pinalaki sa pamilya.
Yes.
Yung closeness, yung close-knit natin.
Yeah.
Yun po ang bentahe natin. Sayang naman, ito mga Pilipino natin na instead na dito magtrabaho, pupunta pa sa ibang bansa. Because of, number one reason ng pag-alis, ng exodus, the disparity of the salary. Hindi po, yung salary, yung financial.
Of course.
Napakalaki po kasi ng diferensya. Mantakit mo, ang nurse po natin, 10 to 15,000 a month dito sa ating bansa. Magkano po sinesweldo nila sa abroad? For example, kunin na lang natin ang Germany. Saudi Arabia. 100,000 plus starting salary.
Wow.
No? Tataas pa po ito, dodoble pa ito na magiging 200,000 depending on the full recognition as a nurse doon po sa pinuntahan nila. Ganun po yung disparity ng salaries dito sa atin at saka sa ibang bansa. Pero balikan ko yung brain drain. Paano ina-address ito ng POA? Kasi hindi naman tayo papayag na walan tayo ng sarili nating mga talentadong Pilipino. Kasi may kaming natawag na mission critical skills.
Oh,
Ano ba yung mission critical skills? Lahat po ng ahensyang involved sa human resources, PRC, yung ating Professional Regulation Commission, DOLE, yung ating BLE, the Bureau of the Local Employment.
labor, yeah.
Opo. Yung pong DOH, for example, sa nursing. No? Yung pong CHED sa teaching. No? Lahat po yan, POAA, nag-uusap-usap po yan kung ano na ba ang level ng deployment at saka yung supply and demand. Mas mataas ba yung demand kesa sa supply natin o mas
Yes.
mababa yung supply kesa sa demand? Depending on that, nag-i-issue po kami ng resolution sa governing board namin sa POA to address itong mga tinatawag na mission critical skills. Pag umabot sa critical level, nagkakaroon po kami ng limitation ng deployment. Hanggang
So,
dito, may ceiling.
May threshold kayo.
Opo, may
Minimum.
threshold po kami. May ceiling. Hindi po dapat hihigit dito dahil mas mataas ang demand kesa sa
Yeah.
supply.
Supply,
So,
yeah.
pinag-aaralan po ng mabuti yan ng ating mga relevant agencies.
Oo. So, alam mo sir, yung pinapaliwanag mo, it reminds me of our earlier episode ng Lakbay ng Buhay. It's about the success stories ng mga OFW, sakripisyo. Do you include the families in the meron ba kayong intervention involving the families? Because yung partner ko sir dito, si John sa IT, used to work in Australia for about 19 years. I worked in America. Ang problema po natin sir is yung family. Some, not all, but there are a lot of families na expectation nila sa mga kamag-anak nila sa abroad, dollar earner, talagang masyado. So do you involve the families in the intervention para they would understand the situation of OFWs? They earn dollars but they spend dollars.
Alam niyo po, ang OWA has a program, what you call financial literacy.
Okay.
Yung financial literacy, itinuturo po ito sa lahat ng mga OFWs at kanilang pamilya kung gaano kahirap mag-abroad, ano yung mga sakripisyo, yung social cost na involved sa pag-abroad.
Yes.
Magkano yung remittance na matatanggap at saan dapat napupunta yung remittance ng ating mga OFW.
Yun.
Importante po kasi yung financial literacy. Kasi po, karamihan sa mga OFWs natin, kung ano yung estado nung umalis sila, pagkaraan ng ilang dekada o ilang taon na nagtrabaho sa abroad, pagbalik nila, halos naubos na yung kanilang kinita.
Exactly. Marami yun.
Doon. Kaya isa po yan sa mga dapat nating ituro sa ating mga pamilya ng OFWs.
Oh. I hope, sir, it's not a lip service by OWA.
Ay, hindi naman po. Alam mo, kami naman po sa POA, pinag-iisipan din namin kasi meron kaming mga orientations, ano? Meron kaming tawag na pre-employment orientation program. Meron kaming pre-deployment orientation program. Meron kaming post-arrival orientation program. Pero all these types of programs are directed to the OFW. No? Dapat siguro meron din kaming programa para din sa pamilya ng mga to prepare them kasi alam nyo, wala po ito eh. Dapat ihanda natin yung mga pamilya ng OFW doon sa social cost na tinatawag natin. Na ano kahirap maiwanan ng isang minamahal na asawa, ng isang anak, ng isang magulang. Napakahirap po nun. Napakahirap.
Kasi yun ang kaya yung sinasabi ko, it probably needs your intervention ng gobyerno. Involve the families because a lot of them are not ready.
Correct. Kaya po nagkakaroon ng broken families.
Exactly.
Kasi hindi po handa yung mga naiiwan.
At saka granting na yung iba naman are not ready to even handle the finances that they will receive. At you have relatives na ini-exploit ka naman. If you are a dollar earner, everybody's ganging up on you. That they should be taught. Kau Jan, share your experience. We talked about this during our Lakbay ng Buhay because Jan, sir, my technical partner, stayed in Australia for 19 years. He worked in Australia and I worked in the US. Kaya we saw this experience happening sa OFWs. How much more yung nasa Middle East because they really don't have that, So, yun ang sir. Jan, you can relate to Administrator Olalia, the plight of OFWs.
Yes, sa experience ka naman sa Australia, In my case, I was lucky kasi the time when I went to Australia, boom yung IT industry nun. My field is in IT. So hindi ako nahirapan maghanap ng trabaho, ng tamang trabaho. Pero later on, yung nag-saturated na yung IT, I made friends with some people na bagong migrate lang sa Australia who had to do other jobs na hindi talaga linya ng ano nila. Halimbawa, ang mga IT specialist sila dito sa IT sa Philippines. Pagdating dito dun sa Australia, nagde-deliver naglalagay mga leaflets sa mailbox just to fill in time. Habang apply din pa sila ng apply. So they had to do all those tasks. Iba, umiiyak na lang eh. Naiiyak. Sabi, bakit ba ako umalis ng Pilipinas? Tapos ito lang yung gagawin ko. Pero eventually, they were rewarded naman. Sabi ko naman sa kanila na just look at this as stepping stone, kumbaga. Hindi pa to yung final goal mo. It doesn't end here. So sa case ko, I was lucky to be able to enter the field that I studied. So I worked for Qantas IT for 11 years, and then I worked for IBM Australia for 5 years.
That's why nakikita ko talaga, Sir Bernard,
Yeah.
you really need to intervene to make the families of OFWs understand the plight of their relatives working abroad. Kasi sabi ko nga, yung iba naman kasi doon na nasa abroad, may konting yabang na kala mo sasaluhin na lahat ng gastos dahil dollar, that at the end of the day, they end up nothing. Pag uwi nila, zero balance yung bank account nila. Because they're not ready, they lack that capability to manage. So perhaps you can consider that if OWA is not even thinking about it, perhaps POA can think of it. Di ba, sir?
Yes, sir. Agree, sir. Agree.
So, what are the markets that Filipinos should now be watchful? Because after this pandemic, do you expect a travel boom, and a deployment boom after the pandemic, sir?
The traditional markets will be there, of course. No? Yun pong deployment po natin ng HSW, unti-unti na pong nagre-resume by this time of the year. Like for example, ang Bahrain natin is already accepting the entry of our HSWs there. Yung Saudi Arabia also followed suit. Also yung UAE natin, sir. So ito po yung mga traditional markets natin for our HSWs. For other skills like yung HCWs natin, yung healthcare workers, a lot of markets are now opening up. Like for example, yung UK sa Europe, yung Germany po natin, yung Poland, yung Czech Republic, no? They're also requesting for the acceptance of HCWs. Sa Asia naman, yes, yung ating normal markets dyan, Hong Kong, Singapore, Taiwan, Japan, are also slowly accepting yung mga deployment natin ng ating the usual skills natin. So, by early next year siguro, sir, unti-unti na mag-normalize yung ating deployment natin, especially sa seafaring industry.
Okay, for the enlightenment of our viewers, ano ang safety protocol ngayon ng POA to those up to the applicants? What do they have to do? Probably you can share with us, with our audience, sir, kung anong dapat nilang gawin under the new normal.
Sir, let me start off with land-based, no? Land-based workers natin. We issue a lot of advisories, especially echoing the health and safety protocols of the destination countries. Kasi each destination country, meron po silang specific protocol on yung mandatory COVID test, yung quarantine bago sila mag-start ng trabaho.
Okay.
No? So, nilalabas po natin yan. And we inform also the agencies, the deploying agencies, to adhere to the protocol of the accepting country. That's number one. Number two, we have to observe also our own protocols here. No? May sarili po tayong protocol dito na dapat din na tignan at ipatupad, no? Yung COVID negative result, and then i-quarantine sila, and then ensure na pag-alis nila, they are COVID-free. No? So, yun po ang ating pinatutupad. For the seafaring industry, mas stricto po tayo. Mas stricto because we receive a lot of complaints already from other countries like China na a lot of our OFWs nag-negative ka dito, may resulta ka ng negative, pero
Okay.
pagdating sa barko at tinest doon before allowed to disembark sa China, nagpa-positive. So maraming factors na involved doon, no? Kasi negative dito. Pagkatapos, pagsampa, makaraan lamang ng ilang araw, pag tinest, nagiging positive. So hindi naman natin masasabi na fake yung kanilang
Yes,
negative
yes.
dito kasi we strictly monitor, and then there's a strict accreditation of our facilities who administer yung mga test na yan. Napaka-stricto po ng IATA
Okay.
dyan. No? So ang ginagawa po natin, ina-adapt po natin yung best practices ng iba't ibang mga entities, like may mga engaged tayong mga agencies at saka mga, for example, yung AMOSU, no?
Yeah.
To maintain a certain facility which is closely monitored. Bago po ma-deploy yung seafarer nila, pupunta sila doon, magkakaroon ng dual test. Initial test, no, for negative, and then mag-i-stay sila mandatory inside that facility, doon sa quarantine facility na yon. After a while, they will be tested again for the second time before actually joining the crew. So, may mga ganun pong best practices po tayo na ina-adapt ngayon for both the land-based and the sea-based OFWs.
Sir, so talking of the monitoring and best practices, it's been a practice with ibang agencies have a captive clinics that they refer to in mga medical exams. How is this being monitored by POEA? And what's really the procedure in medical exams? You know?
Ganito po kasi yan, sir. Yung pong COVID test ng repatriation, no, yung mga repatriated natin, that will be borne by the PhilHealth. PhilHealth po yan. Ang Red Cross ang nag-administer, tapos sinisingil nila sa PhilHealth. No?
Okay.
Yun namang outbound natin, yung paalis. No? Yung outbound natin, ang nagbabayad po dito, yung mga employers nila, yung respective employers.
Okay.
So hindi po nagbabayad yung ating OFWs, whether they are inbound or outbound. No?
But
yung pong medical facility, bawal po kasi na mag-pick sila at sabihin dito lang kayo pwedeng magpa-test. Bawal po yun. That's decking. That's against our policy. So meron pong listahan yan ng medical facility na accredited sa DOH. Usually, kung ano po yung accredited sa DOH at sila po yung allowed na mag-conduct ng test, doon po sila namimili.
So in other words, nawala na yung like before the GAMCA thing, wala na ito?
Wala na po yun. Bawal po yun yung decking. Bawal po yun. Yung pipiliin mo kung saan ka magpapa-issue ng certificate, tapos yun lamang ang i-recognize mo. Bawal po yun. Hindi na po
that's clear. Thank you. But at least, so anybody from the panelists, kasi actually ito, tinitext lang ito sa akin ng mga kakilala. I used to be connected kasi with the TFAIR, Task Force Against Illegal Recruitment before, noong panahon nila Canoli noon. So that's why I'm familiar with this. So again, talaga itong industry news, sir, kawawa talaga ito because unless you're able to really monitor and regulate, ang tinatamaan talaga dito, yung mga mahihirap galing probinsya. Nagbenta ng kalabaw just to be able to pay the fees and nakatie up ng lending. How about the issues on agencies tying up with lending companies? How do you treat that, sir?
Yung pong lending companies po ba binanggit ito, sir? Lending?
Yeah. Just to cover the cost of placement. Tapos,
yes.
Anong position ng POEA dyan?
May policy po tayo dyan. May clear policy po tayo dyan. Kapag po sumingil kayo ng interest doon sa hiniram ng OFW for purposes of paying replacement fee doon sa mga allowable instances na pwedeng mag-singil replacement fee, and it's more than the interest that is allowed by our policy, that will result to an illegal recruitment case.
So what is the threshold?
Criminal po yun. Criminal to charge a fee or interest more than that is allowed by the rules. Kasi nakalagay po doon sa Republic Act 122 eh. Hindi ko lang sure kung 10 or 10% or 9%.
So who determines the allowable interest?
Yung batas
makes
po, it's pegged
So,
by the
it's
law. It's pegged in the law. Nasa law, nasa batas po natin.
So, it constitutes illegal recruitment, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It constitutes
Wow.
illegal recruitment. It's a
So,
criminal offense.
It
It's a
becomes
criminal offense
it becomes a
for you
large,
to charge more than what
kasi-
is allowed by the law.
ano yun, nagiging unavailable, syndicated na yun because it's going to be the recruitment agency, the lending company, it becomes an non-available insurance.
Iba po yun, sir. Pagka syndicated estafa at saka illegal recruitment large scale, pag more than 5 yung victims. More than 5 or more than 3.
Pero would it not constitute syndicated? Kasi siyempre there must have been an agreement between the agency and the lending company and somebody else. Syndicated, if three persons are involved, it becomes a syndicated
Right.
offense.
It becomes a syndicated large scale illegal recruitment.
Exactly.
And that is a non-bailable offense.
Non-bailable. Now, thank you, sir, for clarifying me on that.
Very strict po tayo dyan, sir. Very strict
So,
tayo dyan.
what do they have to do, itong mga kawawa naman natin, in case, alam mo ang problema mo kasi, sir, itong mga lending companies, they require a co-maker, they issue a post-dated check, etc., etc., etc.
Yes, sir. Alam niyo po, sir, meron po tayong tinatawag na anti-illegal recruitment branch dito sa POA.
Okay.
Isa po sa programa namin kasi, katulad ng sinabi ko kanina, yung mandato natin to protect the OFWs, is to prevent illegal recruitment. No? Ayaw po natin na maraming kababayan natin o merong kababayan natin na magiging biktima ng illegal recruitment. Meron kaming preventive programs at saka meron kaming remedial programs sa POA. For the preventive programs, we coordinate and collaborate with all sectors of the government, NGOs, and LGUs. Meron po kami mga memorandum of understanding yan. Nakikipag-ugnayan kami sa PESO, doon po sa mga mayors, governors, congressmen para po maipakita, maipalabas, maiparating po natin sa grassroots level kung ano yung mga dapat iwasan to become victims of illegal recruitment. No? So we are very active on that. Number 2, pag po sila ay naging victim na, no? At naloko na po sila, there is a group of lawyers here who offer their services, legal services for free. Sila po yung nagbibigay ng advice, sila po yung tumutulong mag-execute ng complete affidavit, sila po yung nag-act as private prosecutor, sila po yung tumutulong sa korte para po doon sa mga biktima ng illegal recruitment. So, yan lamang po yung ilan doon sa mga ginagawa ng POA for the prevention of illegal recruitment.
So, thank you so much, sir. Sir, do we still have somebody from the BLE, Bureau of Labor and Employment? Do we still have John?
Yes, sir.
Okay, anyway, we have Mr. Rupert Bayukot with us. Sir Rupert. Hello, Sir Rupert.
Yes,
Sir
good morning. Yes,
Sir
you hear
Rupert
me?
Sir Rupert is the chairman of the Confederation of Truckers Association of the Philippines, one of the large groups of truckers. So, Sir Rupert, kanina pinag-usapan, pinaliwanag kanina ng Bureau of Local Employment about the status na ilan ang natanggalan ng trabaho. So, in your industry, in the transportation industry, ano ba ang impact ng pandemic? Ilan ang trabaho na nawala sa industry niyo, sir?
Yes, with regards to the transport industry, the employment is going down because transport industry is encountering or suffering so many problems, like the modernization program of the government. Most operators cannot afford at this time of pandemic to refit their trucks. So most of our operators are stopped operating their trucks because most of their units can no longer be registered with the LTO because it's more than 15 years. The modernization program of the government, if your units is more than 15 years old, can no longer be registered. So the employment in our industry is going down because most of the operator is no longer operating.
Okay. So, how about yung pandemic-related, Sir Rupert? Because of the lockdowns, etc. Naapektuhan ba kayo sa lockdown itong mga ganyan? yung industry nyo ng
Yes,
transport?
malaking epekto po sa amin yung lockdown because during the first 2 months of the lockdown, most of our drivers cannot go to their job because they could not go to their garage because they should secure a passes from the barangay.
So, okay. From the labor, Sir CJ, labor, did you ever consider the transportation industry in your equation of what you can do to help those who will be displaced because of the pandemic? Kasama ba sa equation ng mga transport ng mga truckers?
Well, actually po, totoo po, no, transportation and storage is really one of the major industry groups that have been affected by the pandemic based on our records. Meron pong 13,000 mahigit na workers na naapektuhan ng job displacements dahil po sa since January. So probably most of yung reason po nito is dahil po sa pandemya. Now, in terms of assistance, I think sa Bayanihan 2 ay meron pong specific na assistance na binibigay po ang LTFRB para sa mga naapektuhang drivers ng transport industry. But if in any case, bukas din naman po ang department sa mga nagnanais na mag-avail po ng camp po para sa mga affected workers. Pero if ever po na nakatanggap na kayo ng assistance from LTFRB or any form of government assistance, ma-disqualify na po kayo to na makatanggap po ng financial assistance from the camp.
Sir Rupert, have you
Yes.
received any assistance?
Some operators they no longer apply for any assistance because the requirements on the modernization program is to reflect our unit. They should apply for a loan from like ADB or financial institution of the government kasi malakihan po ang kailangan namin eh.
Yes,
Hindi po pwede yung assistance na 5,000 lang, 8,000, hindi pwede sa mga operator po yun.
Actually, Sir Rupert, in our future episodes, we're going to invite the OTR because we're going to talk about the shipping industry. That would also include the trucking industry. Affected kayo eh. That would be our next topic for the Talakayan. So we can bring this issue with the Secretary of Transportation if he will join us or whoever from the DOTR. That would be a good issue to raise.
Yes. Yeah, we are willing to join it.
Yeah, of course you will. So again, from the labor, so that's so far the help that you can provide sa truckers. But unless they already sought help from the LTFRB, then you have the assistance package.
Yes, sir. Well, apart from the financial assistance package, as I mentioned earlier, meron po tayong mga trainings through our partners sa TESDA. Probably those affected workers can go to the nearest PESO, yung mga Public Employment Service Office. And then matutulungan po sila ng mga PESO officers natin whether makahanap po ng ibang trabaho sa ibang industriya or magkaroon po ng retraining or retooling para po magkaroon sila ng empleyo sa ibang industriya.
Okay. Sir Rupert, any more thing to say?
Yun lang po.
Okay.
The
So anyway,
industry is suffering so many problems at this time.
Okay. So anyway, we're almost out of time. So again, I'd like to thank every one of you, Sir Olalia, Sir Bernard Olalia. Thank you so much for spending time with us. As Attorney Mark Cox, Sir Rupert, CJ from the Labor, Elmer from USEC, and everyone. You know, alam mo, this is a very enlightening engagement. Itong episode natin ngayon, ang dami, it's very enlightening, especially with the explanations of Sir Olalia. So there will be a lot of OFWs or planning to work abroad that would have good insights on ano ba nangyayari sa POA natin. And most importantly, we have to remember that we're now faced with the challenge of COVID. But we now live in uncertain times. Now, kaya nga ngayon, just to let you know, everybody, now, Talakayan 3K is launching a program, sir, which we call Batiin Natin ang Ating Mga Kababayan wherever they are. So tawag nga namin, Pasko at bagong taon na may pag-asa, sama-sama nating batiin na masaya. The essence of the program is, while we are amidst this pandemic that the world is, anxiety is prevalent sa buong mundo, depression, kung sama-sama nating babatiin ang mga Pilipino sa buong mundo because live stream tayo, YouTube and Facebook, at least man lang paramdamin natin sila na nakikiisa tayo sa kanila sa buong mundo, it would be a good moral boost. So again, sana, if you can give your message, maski ano lang yan, video recorded, sir, video recorded, because beginning this week, we will now live stream it occasionally, and ang magiging highlight is on December 20. We call it our Christmas special. Then lahat ng messages, ipi-play natin yon, because the most that we can do in a time of in this most challenging time is ipakita natin na tayo mga Pilipino nagkakaisa at nakikiramay sa mga nararamdaman ng lahat dahil dito sa pandemya. Again, maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat. So any parting message po sa inyo, sir? Sir Bernard, please, any parting message po?
Una, sir, sa lahat, salamat po sa pag-invite. Ako po'y nagagalat at na-meet ko po yung mga kasamahan natin sa industriya, sa iba't ibang sektor para po makipagkatalakayan yung mga problema para po sa mga minamahal po natin mga kababayan sa aking sektor, mga OFWs. Sige po, sir, makikipag-engage po kami sa lahat po ng mga nagnanais pong tumulong.
Yes, please.
Kami po ay bukas. And kami po ay narito lamang, handa po makipag-ugnayan po sa inyo po. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you, sir. Sir Bernard, I hope this is not going to be the last. Definitely, there will be more that I will be coordinating with you on this regard. And with your demeanor talaga, maraming salamat po. Iba kasi iba. Okay. So, if you have anybody in mind, any OFW success that you can share with he or she can share with us her journey in life, because we have the program Lakbay ng Buhay. Probably we would be glad to feature his life or his or her life on that.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, Sir Mark, anything to say or parting words?
Opo, Sir Chito, papasalamat lang kami for having us this morning. So, salamat po sa inyo and to Admin Olalia, to our friends from Doles, Mr. CJ, and also kay Chairman Jess, no? And sa co-panelists po natin. So, ang nabanggit po namin kanina was to, to reach out to the POEA and also to the DOLE for further dissemination ng aming pong Balik Pinas. So, if you will allow us, sir, we will just get in touch with your office po, Admin Olalia and Sir CJ, so we can share material that you can post in your sites or whether sites or Facebook pages po, and then they can reach us kung gusto nila mag-explore ng business opportunities with Coca-Cola. Siguro po yun lamang, and then again, maraming salamat. Ingat po tayo palagi. Thank you.
Sir Mark, don't forget your message to our kababayans. You can have it video recorded. We'll play it definitely.
Sige po.
We would appreciate with the good-looking attorney sending his good tidings to the sir. Baka marami mag-text sa'yo. Merry Christmas, sir. So we will be expecting your message po, ha, sir? Video recorded.
Sige po, we will prepare one, sir.
Thank you, Sir Mark. Thank you, Sir Mark.
Sir.
Sir Rupert Bayokot, anything, your parting words?
Yes, una sa lahat, marami pong salamat at marami po kaming natutunan sa ating ibang panelist this morning. Talagang sa trucking industry, marami pong problema. Mas marami kaming problema compared to the other industry. Maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat.
Hayaan nyo, Sir Rupert. Our next topic will be in the shipping industry. We will invite the OTR. We will invite Marina. We will invite PPA to discuss the issues hounding the industry. Again, Sir Bayokot, yung message mo, yung padala mo. Greet.
Yes, sir.
Share your thoughts, share your heart with the overseas Filipinos over there, di ba?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
So, Sir Elmer, sino pa nandyan? Sir Elmer, what's your parting words?
FNR.
Ano mo, sir?
Wala na.
Wala na? So he's still there.
Sir CJ.
Sir CJ, your parting words, of course. Alam mo,
Of course,
you enlightened us, really enlightened us this morning together with Administrator.
Thank you, sir. So on behalf of Assistant Secretary Dominic Rubiat Putay and my Division Chief, Ms. Grace Baldosa, nagpapasalamat po kami sa organizers at sana po ay nakakontribute kami sa talakayang ito. And again, we would like to encourage our workers and employers to avail of the programs and services na inihanda po ng DOLE, particularly yung camp and yung mga iba't iba pang employment facilitation services para po sa mga naghahanap ng trabaho. Yun lang po, thank you.
Sir CJ, remember, maraming salamat for your time and your message. Okay, please?
Yes,
Video recording.
Kami po ay magpe-prepare.
Share your heart with the Filipinos all over because that is the most that we can do right now in the pandemic. Bawal magbiyahe, bawal mag-mall. So, mag-social media na lang tayo, mag-greet na lang tayo, ha? Okay? Thank you, Sir CJ. So, Jan, sino pa nandiyan dyan? Jan. Si Sir Elmer, nandiyan pa yata.
FNR is, pero wala siya sa...
Sure. Wala na. So anyway, again, finally, natapos po ang 2 oras nating talakayan. And this is a most enlightening forum, very informative. Thank you so much, lalo kay Sir Bernard Ulalia, who's kind enough to spend time with us. At saka ako mismo, marami akong naliwanagan, naintindihan. So, thank you. And again, let us all stay safe amid this pandemic. And for our audiences all over, with this live streaming via YouTube, Facebook, and our Talakayan 3K.live, thank you so much for spending your time with us. And Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Salamat po sa inyo lahat. Jan, say your parting words to our audience, regular.
Maraming salamat po sa selflessness ninyo for sharing the information. And at least marami tayong mga kababayan na hindi na malilito sa mga sabi-sabi from other kasi it came from the source of the information. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year sa inyo lahat and stay safe. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. Good day and stay safe. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.